You don't pick that life picks you. Welcome to Sit Down News. Before we begin, I'd like to mention our sponsor. Ratchet is a clothing company from the UK started by a young man with a vision, a dream, and determination. They have various prints and styles for men, women, and children. I'll include a link to their website down below in the description for this video. This next story has to do with Dom Truscello, Big John, and his brothers Spanky and Boopsie. Unfortunately, Dom has since passed. He was an old-time member and captain with the Lucchese family. Originally, Dom was from Manhattan, but eventually he moved to New Jersey. One day he told me a story about a pond he had on his property. He went out to check on the fish one day, and they were all dead and floating on top of the water. He told me he thought the agents poisoned them. Anyway, after some time, Dom became the captain of the Prince Street crew. At one point, he told me he had over 30 made guys in his crew. You don't really hear crews of that size anymore. What I respected about Dom is he told me at Christmas time some years he didn't even take money from his guys. He kicked up on his own. That's the sign of a good captain who's not greedy. Big John was the captain of the Brooklyn faction of the Lucchese family. John used to be my captain, and although we represented Brooklyn, we operated out of Staten Island. Before John became a member of the Luccheses, he was a small-time drug dealer along with his brothers in Brooklyn. His brother Boopsie eventually was straightened out with the Luccheses. At the time, John was an associate. Ironically, his other brother, Spanky, was associated to the Colombos, but he too would become inducted into the Lucchese family. At some point, all three brothers were in trouble and went to prison. To John's good fortune, he ended up in the same facility as Joe DiNapoli, the Lucchese consigliere. One day, John noticed Joe didn't look too good, and he suggested he go to the infirmary, but Joe, being stubborn, refused to go. Nevertheless, John did wind up convincing him to go, and as Joe's luck would have it, he suffered a heart attack as soon as he reached the infirmary door. Joe was released before John, but never forgot that he saved his life. When John gained his freedom, Joe rewarded him by inducting him into the family. Many members of the family didn't respect John. They felt he was only inducted for saving Joe's life. Personally, I don't know if John deserved membership or not, but I can say John was not made for a captain's position. Unlike Dom, John hated a nickel because it wasn't a dime. John was definitely a greedy guy. Out of all three brothers, I got along with Spanky the best. They say don't judge a person by their looks. Well, if you look at Boopsie's picture, whatever your opinion you form, times that by 10. One afternoon, Joey DiBenedetto and I took a ride to Staten Island. Joey was a member of our crew and is the son-in-law of Lucchese boss Vic Musso. Joey and I have known each other since we were 10 years old. We were headed to meet with Big John at his cigar vault, a cigar lounge which doubled as our social club. When we first arrived, Big John and Spanky were standing in front of the cigar lounge with Joey Amato. Joey is a captain with the Colombos. I got along good with Joey, and we would often meet in Bloomingdale Park in Staten Island where we would walk and talk. As we got out of Joey's truck, Dom pulled up in his Mercedes. He got out and he had this guy Keith with him. I had met Keith at a barbecue one time. We said hello to Dom and I walked over and I also said hello to Keith. Then Dom and Keith walked towards Zio Toto, and so did Big John and Spanky. We went over to say hello to Joey Amato and he smiled and said, "You gotta watch this." I asked him what he was talking about and he told me that Keith had a beef with Boopsie. So naturally I asked, where was Boopsie? He laughed and said, "Exactly, cuz. Where is he?" We were standing around laughing. At one point, while I was looking away from Zio Toto, I heard what sounded like a crack. Joey Amato's face lit up. "Cuz, you missed it." I quickly turned around. The first thing I noticed was old man Dom was on the ground. I took off running towards the restaurant. Keith was in the parking lot pacing around. I don't know why, but I thought he did something to Dom. Probably because he was the only outsider. I went to approach him, but Big John stopped me. He said, "Mo, it was an accident." So we all got Dom up, and he was very shaky. He looked disgusted. What actually happened is, in the middle of all of them talking, Spanky decided to punch Keith in the face, and Dom was knocked down in the commotion. I quickly realized why Dom was disgusted. For one, nobody enjoys being knocked down, but what's more, Dom was there to try to help Keith, and as an old-time captain, it made him look bad. What we later found out, during the argument between Keith and Boopsie, Keith winded up punching him in the face. Joey Amato and I had our answer to why Boopsie wasn't around. He was embarrassed to be seen with a black eye. I remember driving back home with Joey that day, and I couldn't help think of what an embarrassment I just witnessed. We were the Lucchese crime family, and one of our members got two of his bigger brothers to handle his problem that he had with a guy. After that day, Joey Amato and I would always joke and say, "Where's Boopsie?" We would never forget that answer. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you would like to subscribe to this channel, you could do so down below. If you would like to subscribe to my other channel, the Unlimited Substance Podcast, I'll put a link in the description.